Tonight, grief, anger and fear among the Jewish community in London. Security is ramped up after yesterday's deadly attack in Manchester. Some felt it was inevitable.
Everybody expected this to happen. It was a matter of when, not if.
With police resources stretched, the Met is urging anyone planning protests this weekend to reconsider. Also on the programme, the former London nurse who's become the first ever female Archbishop of Canterbury. The man conned out of more than £100,000 in a romance scam and how it could happen to you. And another award for Raye, this time for her fight for songwriters to be paid their dues. Good evening. London's Jewish community has spoken of feeling increasingly vulnerable after the terror attack on a Manchester synagogue, which left 2 dead. While politicians were quick to reassure Londoners, there is grief and anger here following the attack, which some say they always feared would happen. It raises questions about whether places of worship should be better protected during holy days. Here's our senior correspondent, Raye Phillips.
Golders Green, the heart of London's Jewish community. And along with the collective grieving for the 2 men killed in the attack at the synagogue in Manchester, is an overwhelming sadness for the damage it could do to wider community relations.
The Jewish community always believes in a peaceful approach to things, and therefore we're looking to unite. I think this is something which brings the community together, and it enables the community to feel a closeness with those who sympathise.
A lot of people in this community have family that live up that way. My mother-in-law has family that live up that way. So it's very difficult at the moment for people, but as a community we get on, we strive and we survive, which is what we've done for hundreds of years.
There's now extra security around sensitive buildings, with many Jewish organisations no longer relying on the police and instead providing their own protection.
My first thoughts are with the families of the 2 men killed.
At the New North London synagogue, one of the largest in the country, the rabbi says, like others, he was shocked but not surprised by what happened. He was, though, comforted by the outpouring of sympathy from people of all races and religions.
And I switched on my laptop and I saw this list of messages from Christian leaders, from Muslim leaders, from friends, from people I know tangentially, from Jewish communities all around the globe. That was very moving.
So heartbroken and furious.
Gideon Falter runs a London organisation which was set up in response to the recent increase in anti-Semitic abuse. He's furious at politicians, including London Mayor Sadiq Khan.
This was certain to happen. And there's only one question that we want answered now, which is, what are you actually going to do? Not thoughts and prayers, not sympathy. What are you going to do? What concrete, firm, forceful action? It's really time that politicians started taking action rather than just giving us their sympathy in words.
The local MP, who is herself Jewish, says the time has come to root out all extremism.
We've got to look at anti-Semitism, at Islamophobia, at racism, wherever it festers, online and in our streets. It's more than just providing bricks and mortar security to the Jewish community. We've got to have the education piece as well, changing hearts and minds, helping young people identify anti-Semitism so that we know how to tackle it.
But the overriding sentiment from politicians, religious leaders and local people is that the events in Manchester should not be allowed to sow division and let hate win.
Well, as the Met steps up security, it's urging people planning protests in the capital this weekend to reconsider. The force is concerned about the amount of resources a big march planned for Saturday would divert. And only last night there were clashes in central London, as Helen Keenan reports.
In Whitehall, at Liverpool Street. Pro-Palestinian protests held across London last night. 40 people were arrested, 6 for assaults on police officers. The action was held because of this, the Israeli Navy halting a flotilla carrying aid to Gaza. But the demonstrations in the capital came hours after the attack in Manchester that killed 2 Jewish men. So were today criticised by the Home Secretary, who called the action disappointing and un-British.
Imagine that was you who's lost a loved one in such a horrible, horrifying terrorist attack. Imagine how you would feel, and then just take a step back. Waiting a day or two isn't going to do any harm if you're acting in good faith to the causes that you support.
This weekend, more action is planned in Trafalgar Square. The Met want it to be cancelled so they can instead deploy every available officer, they say, to protect Jewish communities.
This weekend's protest is in support of Palestine Action, a group currently banned under terrorism laws. Now, the Met say policing it, as there'll be more than 1,000 people attending, draws away from their resources. But the activist group who are organising the demonstration says cancelling peaceful protests like theirs lets terror win.
And that is what the Mayor is calling for tomorrow's protest to be: peaceful, lawful and safe. Helen Keenan, ITV News.
Well, our senior correspondent Ronke Phillips joins me now. So, Ronke, tomorrow's protests are on.
They definitely are, because there is no power in law to stop them. So what we have is freedom of speech versus the strain on police resources and Jewish people in the middle who feel unsafe and intimidated by these marches. It's one of those situations, Yasmin, isn't it, where all of those opposing sides have to exist together. I suppose I could quote the Mayor and say, look, the marches are going to go ahead, and as he said, let's hope they're peaceful, they're lawful and they're safe.
Indeed. Ronke, thank you. OK, in other news tonight, the Bishop of London, Dame Sarah Mullally, will become the next Archbishop of Canterbury. It makes her the first woman ever to lead the Church of England. Before being ordained, the 63-year-old had a distinguished career in nursing in the capital. The job of Archbishop has been vacant for almost a year after Justin Welby was forced to resign. Sangeeta Kandola reports.
It must be quite nice to meet you.
On her first visit as the first female Archbishop of Canterbury to a food bank in a city which will now forever be synonymous with her name, Dame Sarah Mullally, who today made history as the first woman to be appointed to the role, and which she acknowledged at Canterbury Cathedral, where she paid tribute to her London roots.
Reflecting on the experiences which have prepared me for this role, I am deeply thankful to the people, the churches and communities of the Diocese of London. In discerning this step, it has not been easy to accept that I will be leaving you.
Her role follows the fall from grace of her predecessor Justin Welby, who resigned over safeguarding failings in relation to a child abuser.
Our history of safeguarding failures have left a legacy of deep harm and mistrust, and we must all be willing to have light shone on our actions, regardless of our role in the Church.
The 66-year-old, a former nurse, was born and educated in Woking. She became the youngest ever chiefing nursing officer for England in the late 90s, having worked at St Thomas's, the Royal Marsden and Chelsea and Westminster, to name but a few. She became the first woman to hold the position of the Bishop of London, and for that was awarded a damehood. Her new role comes after royal approval from the King.
Hard to get people to just walk to church door, I know.
The married mother of two, who is keen on pottery, will officially begin her new role next year, but says she is sad to bid goodbye to London. Sangeeta Kandola, ITV News.
A man has admitted stabbing an 11-year-old girl in a random knife attack in Leicester Square. The Australian child was on holiday with her mother last August when she was targeted by Yohan Pintaru. The young victim had injuries to her face, shoulder, wrist and neck. Pintaru pleaded guilty to wounding the girl with intent and possession of a knife. He denied a charge of attempted murder. 3 girls so young we can't name them were jailed today for kicking and punching a man to death as he walked home in Islington. The girls surrounded 75-year-old Freddie Rivero as they got off the bus, and one of them even filmed the fatal attack. Anila Dami is at the Old Bailey for us. Anila, a truly horrible case.
It is, and heartbreaking for the family of Freddie Rivero, whose daughter described him as kind, polite and gentle in a victim statement here at the Old Bailey, where in court this CCTV footage was shown. Mr. Rivero is being punched in an attack by 3 girls, and the prosecution said it was an unprovoked attack in February. Let's show you footage of the crime scene in Islington at the time, where Mr. Rivero was waiting for a bus near a bus stop on Seven Sisters Road when 3 teenage girls got off a bus and attacked him. They pushed, shoved, kicked and punched 75-year-old, with one filming this on her phone, which was also shown in court today. As part of the police investigation, officers recovered the CCTV footage which we showed you. One of the girls punched Mr. Rivero in the head, causing him to fall backwards and hit his head on the pavement, knocking him unconscious. He died later after being taken to the Royal London Hospital. CCTV footage showed that during an initial interaction, he held up peace signs. The girls walked off, but then they walked back to him. His daughter, Carla Rivero, said it was not his time to die and his death was forced upon him by 3 girls. She said her father will live forever in her heart and that her mother is heartbroken, and that it leaves her questioning what type of generation of youth is being raised as a result of this. Well, the girls, one aged 15, 2 aged 17, who can't be named because of their ages, previously pleaded guilty to manslaughter and today was sentenced to a combined total of 10 years detention. The 15-year-old girl was sentenced to 2 years and 6 months. One of the 17-year-olds was sentenced to 3 years and 6 months, and the other 17-year-old was sentenced to 4 years.
This was a cruel attack on an elderly man who was completely defenceless, and you showed him no mercy. The nature of the attack itself and Mr. Rivero's age and vulnerability make this a particularly serious offence.
Well, Carla Rivero said her father, Freddie Rivero, remembered for and honoured for the kind and peaceful person he was, not in the manner in which his life was taken.
OK, Anila, thank you. OK, still to come on the programme. Our game of paddle involving famous faces is drumming up support for an important cause. Plus,
I knew the power of Grenfell Athletic.
Be a villain, a legacy.
We will wear that king.
the story of the football team that's helping unite the Grenfell community. But first, love or lies and a warning about going in search of romance online. Millions turn to dating apps to find a partner, but scammers love them too and con unsuspecting users out of thousands of pounds. It's easier to fall victim than you might think. And now the Met is helping us spot the warning signs, as Carolyn Sim reports.
When Varun Yadav met a woman online, he thought it was the real thing. They connected on a matrimonial app and even held video calls. But soon she began asking him to invest in cryptocurrency, and because he trusted her, he fell for a scam.
How much money did you lose over this?
I lost £150,000. This was all of my life savings. This is a person you're planning to spend your life with. The pain that you feel is so much as if someone's just punched through your chest and ripped out your heart.
Varun is not alone. Over the past year, there's been an 18% rise in so-called romance fraud across the country. In London, there were over 1,200 cases reported, with victims losing around £15 million.
I ended up giving him £132,000.
The Met has now launched a new video to raise awareness of the crime, which is often run by gangs in other countries. They create a false identity online and form a fake romantic connection with victims, then use that relationship to extort money and gifts.
I was already too deep into it because it promised to give me the money back.
In some cases, it lasts for years.
They have gained your trust and your belief that you're in a real relationship with them. Like I said, they're highly manipulative. The language that they use, we see in sort of domestic abuse relationships, so in the coercive and controlling space, exactly the same techniques that are used.
This is a really callous crime, isn't it?
It is callous, calculating and cruel.
Campaigners say dating platforms are putting more protective measures in place, but other social media platforms aren't doing enough.
AI is being used a lot by the criminals. It needs to be used more by these platforms to detect and remove the fake profiles in the first place. There's some really obvious things that can be done using facial recognition for repeatedly used faces. They're not being used to remove the profiles.
The police want more people like Varun to come forward and warn that anyone can be vulnerable to scams involving deception and lies. Carolyn Sim, ITV News.
Now, paddle is a real smash hit sport, and today some famous faces got together to play it with a purpose. Grief Encounter has helped so many children and young people deal with bereavement. Today, some celebrity rivalry in East London helps serve up support for the charity, which is helping young hearts heal.
It was the dream paddle lineup, a whole host of famous former athletes.
I was once upon a time an Olympic champion in London 2012. Nowadays, just a random old man, really, so that's it, with lots of aches and pains.
Putting aches and pains aside to raise their rackets for the first ever celebrity paddle competition in London.
This is going to be a really competitive paddle tournament, and I know that these people here, some of them are ex-athletes. They're going to be super, they're going to want to win. So I'm here to get the crowd warmed up, get them ready for the event, and hopefully get the best out of all the players.
What's your paddle game like?
I'm all right, but I'm looking at professional athletes. I mean, John Terry's there. These are professional athletes. I mean, not anymore, but Joe Wicks. I imagine he's pretty handy. So it's going to be competitive. I can smell the testosterone in the air.
The stars and their testosterone were here to lend their support to Grief Encounter, a charity which supports children when someone close to them dies.
What the charity does is incredible for children that are going through something that is so incredibly tough. We had that with my 3 young children when they lost their grandfather recently. So it's something that it really is tough. Trying to have those conversations and know what to say and how to go about it is a really tough thing to do.
Laura knows too well how tough it is. She lost her husband suddenly 7 years ago. Grief Encounter helped her 2 children to cope.
They were just fantastic from the start. After the initial sort of shock and going through phone calls about how to discuss it with them, we then moved into things like their activity days, which bring all children together who've suffered loss. It's made them just, feel less alone in a tragedy.
As part of the fundraising efforts, former football foes turned paddle partners today. Ex-Chelsea captain John Terry teaming up with ex-Spurs Darren Bent.
I mean, he's got the better of me, certainly in the playing days playing for Chelsea. I mean, one of the best centre-backs there's ever been. I really got the better of him there, so I'm hoping today's the day.
I'm a keen paddle player, I do like it. I'll be frustrated if I don't win. I do love to win, so we'll see.
In the end, John Terry was kept happy. The footballer duo sealing victory on the court. Good sports supporting a very good cause.
Well played, guys. Thank you very much.
Olivia Guthrie, ITV News.
Next tonight, so many stories have been told about Grenfell, but for the first time, the full account of a football club born out of the tragedy is being told in a special documentary. Grenfell Athletic has played an important part in healing and uniting the community. Before we meet the 2 people who set the team up, let's have a little look at the film.
The most important thing was how football has helped me, and I wanted it to enhance and help others in the same sort of circumstances.
I was really in a bad place. Joining the football club was it changed my life.
I knew the power of Grenfell Athletic.
Building a legacy.
We all wear that kit with a lot of pride. It means a lot to us.
So powerful, and I'm so delighted to say that Rupert Taylor and Paul Manasseh are in the studio with us. Welcome to you both. That man said changed his life, the football club. I think it's changed both of your lives. I think that's probably fair to say, isn't it? Paul, we need to explain first that you escaped from the 6th floor of the tower. You helped others to escape. You have seen the unimaginable and experienced the unimaginable. But you do say that it's football that's actually one of the main things that's got you through all of this.
Yeah, quite the early stages
basically after the fire. I wasn't in a good place mentally, and it was Rupert who I met at a community centre where he was working, and a lot of the voluntary work, basically a lot of people would go in there with aid after the fire. And I met Rupert for the first time, and I wasn't really myself at the time. I think it was just basically didn't feel surreal what's just happened, trying to come to terms with everything that's happened. And Rupert kind of I opened up to Rupert, and we sort of had a bond, and it was just little things like, what do you like doing? What's your hobbies? And I obviously explained to him about football being my main hobby and how much I loved it. And I think from that was when we sort of bonded, and it was just one day that we both just said to each other, let's create a football club.
Yeah. And Rupert, the power of this football club, I mean, healing, uniting the community, it's amazing.
Yeah, extraordinary, to be honest. I think extremely humbling over the years. I've seen a lot of people that have, you know, been stronger together and unite as a team, kind of like a family.
It's about healing, isn't it? As we say, it's about uniting, but it's also about remembering. And I just want us to play a small clip from the documentary which highlights this really well.
The bigger the club gets, the more people speak about the name, the less anyone can ever forget that night. We will carry on these walks, we will carry on wearing the towel on our football kit and keep representing those people who sadly didn't make it that day.
You wear those shirts with pride, don't you, with that name Grenfell on it?
Absolutely. I think we must always remember what's happened, who we've lost, the people that lost their lives, bereaved survivors, their families. I think our community was, you know, in disarray for quite some time, and still is for many that struggle on a day-to-day. So I think the whole point of the football club was to offer some kind of solace and hope.
And that comes across so well in this documentary. We also have to say, I mean, it's made with TNT Sports, and they've also been offering some mentoring for some of your players, haven't they? And I think you could. It's this is you guys with Peter Crouch, isn't it? Here that we're looking at.
Yeah.
So some amazing stuff has been happening because of your partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they came down for a training session, so it was Wayne Bridge, Steve Sidwell, and Crouchy.
And ambitions for the future, continuing to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the aim is the Premier League.
Ah, yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, I have to say as well, you guys always say that you hope this will become the second most favourite team for people, because you support
Liverpool.
And you support
Arsenal.
A slight conflict of interest.
Yeah, slight.
We're always arguing.
Yeah.
Good to know. Listen, guys, it's such a good documentary. I really do urge people to watch it. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Now, cast your mind back to those days at school when you sang at the top of your voice in assembly, or perhaps landed a place in the choir. Well, children at a school in South Kensington have taken things up a notch. 22 pitch-perfect pupils have landed a starring role in one of the world's biggest operas, Carmen, helping tell the famous story of love and betrayal. The students were selected by the English National Opera from Marlborough Primary School. I think it's fair to say they can't wait for their first show.
It's really nice to be able to sing and have fun with my friends. I think we've learned how to be more confident on stage and how to perform, and when at times we should be a little quieter when we're up backstage.
We've learned how to do a lot more high-pitched voice, high-pitched singing, and to be more confident and not be scared to go on a big stage.
Well done to them. Now, it's been a pretty damp day, hasn't it, for a lot of London? It looks like things are turning a bit drier for the weekend, but watch out for a weather warning. Let's get all the details now with the forecast. Here's Chris Page.
An icy start to the day will give way to a series of oohs and ahs.
TUI sponsors ITV London weekend weather.
Hello there. Very good evening to you. It has been rather wet across the capital through today, grey and cloudy skies, but through the next 24 hours, the talking point is going to be the strength of the winds, all thanks to Storm Amy. A yellow weather warning has been issued from the Met Office today, where we could be seeing gusts of up to 55 miles an hour. And of course, with trees in full leaf at the moment, that could cause some problems, and I'd expect some travel impacts as well. This is the deep area of low pressure tracking to the northeast of the country as we go through the night, but just look at the white lines on the chart here, really tightly packed together. They're the isobars, and we're likely to see some rather strong northwesterly winds, particularly across Scotland and Northern Ireland, but even so for us here in the southeast. Now, overnight tonight, there will be some further outbreaks of rain. This is the cold front pushing through, a very narrow band here. Could see some very squally winds on that too by around midnight to 2 a.m. So I wouldn't be surprised if that wakes you up overnight tonight. But by dawn tomorrow morning, most of the cloud and the rain has started to clear. A little bit of hang back of the cloud, though, saying that, but very quickly the sunshine will chase that away. A fairly fine start into Saturday, 1 or 2 very isolated showers. Most of us getting away with a fine day. Through the afternoon, though, a touch more cloud, but it is the strong gusty winds we're talking about, and through tomorrow we could be seeing those gusts in the range of 45, near 55 miles an hour. Highs 14 to 15 Celsius, of course tempered by the wind and the rain, so not really feeling like that. And then as we leave Saturday and go into Sunday, there's a ridge of high pressure building in. Storm Amy just starting to clear to the northeast, still rather breezy from the northwest, but bright and breezy for many, and quieter next week. Goodbye.
TUI sponsors ITV London weekend weather.
Finally tonight, the awards just keep coming for South London singer Raye. But last night's recognition struck a different note. The artist picked up a prize for her incredible campaigning for better treatment and fairer pay for songwriters and composers. Daisy Bussell reports.
She sold millions of records.
Raye. Raye.
Raye.
It's Raye!
And picked up a multitude of awards. But last night, Raye added another accolade to her name, this time for her work offstage. The singer-songwriter from South London has been awarded a prestigious Ivors Academy honour in recognition of her advocacy for those behind the scenes in the music industry.
We're not going to stop until songwriters are correctly compensated.
I am very passionate about this subject. I really believe change is needed within this community where the industry is making so much money and is thriving and functioning. These people are the beating heart of this industry and need to be recognised and paid accordingly.
No stranger to an acceptance speech.
Shout out Croydon.
She's often used them to push for change.
To all of us songwriters out here, we have to come together.
I just want to have a lovely, brief conversation about normalising giving songwriters master royalty points.
In July this year, her calls appeared to be heard, with a deal between major record companies and the government offering session musicians better rates of pay, plus travel and food expenses.
It felt like a step in the right direction. I think like food and travel was the bare minimum. Small baby step, don't want to be negative or whingy, but yeah, there's a long way to go.
While she says there's more to do in the industry, Raye is also clear that there's plenty more to come from her too.
I've announced an album, but it's not. It's really not done. I've been saying it's not done because it's actually. I've got a lot of work to do.
So fans will have to sit tight for that second album. But while Raye gets to work on it, she can do so in the knowledge that her fight for a fairer music scene will be worth it. Daisy Bussell, ITV News.
And that's it from us. The evening news is next with Lucrezia. But for now, from all of us on the London team, enjoy your evening. Goodbye.